Welcome into Eye on Northeast Kansas, the podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Bruner. This is where we recap some of the top interviews you saw on Eye on Northeast Kansas, the TV show. You can catch it live 4 o'clock Central Time, Monday through Friday from our WIBW TV studios in Topeka, Kansas. One of the stalwarts in the city of Topeka is Washburn University and its law school. Of course, many famous graduates came from there, including the former senator from Kansas, Bob Dole. That's who the new law school building is named for. And the person who saw through construction and moving into that new building, Jeffrey Jackson, is now the law school's official permanent dean. He had been in the interim position for more than a year and a half. Dean Jackson visited Eye on Northeast Kansas to update us on how he's settling into the new role. Pretty good timeline. About a month ago, you became permanent dean.
That is correct.
How long were you interim dean?
So I was interim dean for about a year and 7 months. So
that's quite some time.
It's been a bit, but luckily they decided that I did a good enough job that I get to take the interim tag off and now lead the law school.
Certainly means you didn't cause any problems while you were in the leadership role. But that is kind of interesting because no one takes an interim job and wants to feel like they're just in a place-holding position. So it's not like you were doing nothing for that nearly 2 years. But what is the big difference between being interim and now being permanent?
Well, I guess generally speaking, because you're right, there were some things that needed doing right off the bat.
Like a new building.
Well, moving into the new building, that turned out to be a thing. Strangely enough, our every 10 years we have accreditation from the American Bar Association, and that fell into my lap as well.
All while you were interim.
Yes, and preparing for that, and also preparing for launching what is our new Bar Pass program that we did. So it was a busy year
interim.
and some, and I didn't feel like being an interim. And so now it's interesting because now, as I said, I'm doing the same things that I've done before, except that now everything that might be my responsibility is now my responsibility.
So you get to do it all. But in some ways, does it kind of feel like the wheels are off in terms of, you kind of, it wasn't like you didn't want to do anything while you were interim, but at the same time, just in case somebody came in, you probably didn't want to overstep and leave something unfinished.
And that's exactly right, because I had, there are some things that you may want to do going forward, but you don't want to handicap the new dean if the new dean isn't you.
Correct. So what are some of those things now that you have the freedom? What would be some of your priorities? What do you want to do?
One of the big things we're going to do, and it's kind of strange that way because during all of the interview process, everyone said, "What are you planning? What are you doing?" And basically, it is what Washburn Law School has always been. That is, we are always a place where you go if what you want is an experience where you get to know your professors, and we are there invested in what you're doing. And it's a place you go where we're going to help you if we let you in. We're going to help you get through the law school. We're going to help you find a job, and we're going to help you pass the bar. And we're going to do that because we care about what happens to you. And so that's always going to be our hallmark. But I think you'll see in the future we'll be doubling down on that, and we'll be doing more things that are designed to help the students in all of those areas, and to be a place where you really want to go when what you're looking for is kind of an experience where you get to spend time with your professors and you get to really learn from them.
What is the Bar Pass program? Is that what you mentioned? What is
Sure.
That's just something new starting?
It is. I say something new. It's been for about a year and a half. It was the first thing that I did on the front end. In Kansas, we have gone to what is known as the Uniform Bar Exam, which is one that other states have as well. And when you graduate from law school, generally what happens is you then go take a bar preparation course to kind of cram things in preparation for this bar exam. And one of the things that was causing stress among the students is that those bar prep courses can be expensive. And it's just an extra source of stress. So with the program that I arranged with one of the national bar companies, all of that is included now in the student's tuition.
Oh, very nice.
And so they pay it as they go, and it's free at the end.
Well, because it would be terrible. You pay all this for tuition and your law school tuition, and then all of a sudden there's this expense you can't afford, and you're just sitting
right,
there.
It's something that causes problems, and I was I was very hopeful about how it would turn out. Usually Washburn has always been pretty good about passing the bar, right? We've been in the 80s, but I was watching very carefully the class that took the bar, and we had a 100% pass rate, so I'm feeling
good. That's something to brag about. Well,
very good with that.
We look forward to hearing more from you and your plans as you now have the freedom to do what you want, because you are the man.
Well, thank you, Melissa.
Dean Jackson, thank you so much for being here. A lot will be coming up this spring at Washburn University School of Law. They have several special events planned to celebrate the anniversary of the Brown versus Board case and how they played a role in that decision. The state of Kansas is welcoming job seekers to a virtual job fair. KansasWorks is hosting its spring virtual job fair. It's going to be a week-long event. Nancy McNeely visited ION Northeast Kansas to tell us what's in store. Welcome to you.
Thank you.
Glad to have you along. And this is a virtual event.
Yes, it is.
So why take this approach? How does it work?
So this is an amazing event. This is the first time since I've been with the agency over 20 years that we've had an event that is going to last from March 20th to March 26th. It is 7 days long.
The whole week.
The whole week. It starts at 8 o'clock on March the 20th, and it goes 24 hours a day through the 26th at 5 o'clock p.m. And if you don't have a job, if you're looking for a second job, if you're looking for something different, it doesn't matter what time you go to work or what time you wake up, you can always get in and you can apply for these jobs. And so it's awesome. Nobody knows what you look like at home, and so you can apply for the job.
So I said you can wear your bunny slippers because it's all, your feet aren't going to show on the
free.
computer. How does it work? How is a virtual job fair like this maybe a little bit different than simply going to a bulletin board listing site?
Sure. So the way this is going to go, the postings will be there. You'll have an opportunity to read about the jobs. You'll get to know exactly what the employers are looking for. On our virtual site, there is an opportunity. There's videos there that kind of help you with how to do the interviews, how to do different things. So it prepares you a little bit more than what you are when you walk in the door face to face.
Would they actually be doing interviews during this job fair, or do they contact you later on and set something up?
So they have an opportunity to apply for the job after they read the information on the particular jobs. They can apply, or they can post a message and send a message to the employer, and the employer can get back with them, or the employer will reach out to them if they're interested after they view their applications.
How much interest have you had from employers in this? What kind of jobs are people going to be able to check out?
We have over 45 different employers that have registered for the event, and their jobs are posted anywhere from Department of Administration, Kansas Department of Labor, to your local Russell Stovers. So we have a variety of different positions that are listed on the site.
What kind of professional expertise does the range go from here? Is it all highly skilled? Is it some, more blue collar manual, technical skills?
The great thing about this event is it's a little bit of everything. So no matter where you are, no matter what you're wanting to do, there's something that's going to be on there for you.
So you said more than 45 employers. About how many open positions, if you had to guess?
Hundreds, I can't
thousands?
say exactly, because some employers may have 70, 80 positions. It just depends. Kansas Department of Labor, Kansas Department of Commerce, I know for sure they have lots of positions open in all kinds of areas. And so each one of the employers will have a vast of job opportunities. So it's not your onesie twosies that you normally run into.
Right. And I'm sure that you would tell people, don't just necessarily jump right into the virtual site and the virtual job site at KansasWorks, because they should spend a little bit of time just kind of looking around the KansasWorks page as well. What other things can you help them with through KansasWorks?
So one of the reasons I'm here today is because I want to let people know we can help them prepare for their job interviews, and we can help them prepare for this virtual interview. So they can come in, we can help them with resume workshops, we can help them with mock interviews, we can help with helping them figure out how to complete applications online, just anything that they need to boost their spirits when they get ready to get on
and their confidence level.
Yes.
Exactly. So is that something they would have to do in person, or do you offer some of those workshops virtually as well?
So in some areas, those workshops are offered virtually, but if I had to say, I would say the best thing is to get you in person, come into your local workforce center and get that one-on-one help.
And in Topeka, it's over there on South Topeka Boulevard around 14th Street. KansasWorks.com is where you go for that job fair all next week and to find your local workforce center and get all of that extra information. Nancy, thank you so much. Appreciate you being here.
Yes.
Again, you can register for the fair and find all those resources Nancy talked about if you go to KansasWorks.com. It's not a paid position, it's a volunteer position, but the Topeka Police Department counts on those volunteers, their VIPs, to help fill out the ranks. Interim City Manager Richard Neinstadt visited the Red Couch along with Meg Gamage and Dave Gift, who are both VIPs, volunteers in police service, to tell us about the program. Before we get to the VIPs, we got to get everybody up to date on the CIP.
Well, CIP.
That's what you're focused on right now.
Well,
what is that and why does it matter to people?
Well, it's a capital improvement program, and it's a 10-year program. And the reason it is important to Topeka residents is it's because it's part of our planning strategies to gather projects, put those in some sort of order, and to start planning for them. A lot of projects may take 10 years to plan. But you put them together, you talk about priorities, the council weighs in, the neighborhoods weigh in, and it's a way to get new streets or repair streets or new sidewalks or repair sidewalks on the building on the
agenda, or
yeah,
at least on the
that's
radar.
That's it. Thank you.
So real quick, any big headline on what you want to see included or something that's moving up the list?
Well, one that's going to be a big one this summer is Topeka Boulevard. And our Public Works Director, Braxton Copley, has already announced that I think it's from, 21st, 29th Street?
Right.
And I may have that wrong, so don't you call him first. But there are big sections at Topeka Boulevard that you drive over, and your coffee probably burns you if you're driving without a
teeth
cup.
chatter a little
or
bit.
Your teeth
Yes.
chatter, or you say something that's not real nice on the way to church. But those areas are going to be fixed.
Okay, so we're in the starting process of trying
Yes.
to figure out where the next
Yes.
10 years are going to shake out and if
Yeah.
things need to move up the
Yes.
ranks like Topeka Boulevard did. We have big event coming up this weekend, a lot of St. Patrick's Day celebrations, and that's where the VIPS group comes in. Meg, you said there are two different kinds. You're the administrative volunteer.
Correct.
What does that entail and what do people do?
We provide clerical support for the department because the department budget is not where we can have a lot of secretaries, administrative assistants, and so on hired. So we provide clerical support for the department. We have 25 active volunteers total, and in 2023, we provided over 6,000 hours of volunteer hours for saving the city over $212,000.
So that's when folks, maybe they don't want to be out and about on the streets, but they want to still help
Right.
out. There are those opportunities inside
We're
the law
the behind the
enforcement.
scenes people.
And so, Dave, you do things out in front in the public. You're
Yes.
the patrol VIPs. What do you do?
Well, you have seen the volunteer cars that we drive, have the nice flashing yellow lights on top. We also have a third vehicle, which is a Crown Vic Silver, has the flashing lights as well. If you see those, please stop or please allow us to move. We will be at the parade, both as the lead and the trail of the parade, trying to help keep people safe. The volunteer and police service, we do more than escorting parades. We also escort dignitaries. We help out with abandoned vehicles. We help out police officers. If there's an accident, we may relieve a police officer so they can go do what they're trained to do and handle the traffic there. We also help out with people have a vacation and coming up and they say, please check on my house. They will turn that into the police department.
Oh, wow.
And we can do that as well.
So you really help out with some of those tasks that don't necessarily require all the intense training that the police officers get, but like traffic control or scanning a crowd, you all can certainly take care of that.
Exactly, and we need volunteers.
And how do we do that? I know, Meg, you've got the information. How do we let people know if we want to volunteer?
We would love to have you as a volunteer. And what you need to do is email our volunteer coordinator. His name is Lieutenant Kelvin Johnson. His email is kmjohnson at topeka.org. And we would love to have more volunteers.
And you can always find information about the program on Topeka's website, the City of Topeka website, on the TPD page as well. And I'm sure this is good news for someone like you who has to oversee the budget and make sure everybody's staying within their expenses.
Yes, it is. As you heard, the number she gave, $212,000 worth. And it gives a citizen a chance to be on the inside.
Absolutely.
To really see how they can help their community be better.
Well, we're going to have that email address and the link on the website as well. Thank you so much, all three of you, for letting us know a little bit more about the program. They need more volunteers for this coming weekend, too, so sign up. You see those VIPs all around town at our various community events. Now you know a little more about what they do. We are continuing our conversations for Women's History Month, and three fantastic ladies visited Ion Northeast Kansas this week. Pamela Johnson Betts is head of the Topeka Public Schools Foundation. She also has served as the past chairperson for the Kansas African American Affairs Commission, and she has been a state cabinet secretary. Beryl New also was with us. Dr. New was an administrator for USD 501, also was a principal at Highland Park High School. And Dr. JuliAnn Mazachek is the first woman president of Washburn University. Getting the three of them together was certainly a treat. I've been so excited for this conversation, ladies, so thank you all for being here. And Dr. New, for you, coming up through the ranks in education, especially as a woman, what were you seeing? Because it always, well, this will be for Dr. Mazachek as well, it always kind of blows my mind, right? Elementary age, we think ladies have to be the teachers, but then you start getting to higher education and the administrative ranks, and that was where the men were. What did you see as you were coming up?
I had some great school leaders who were wonderful role models, male and female, but I was very honored to be selected as the first female African-American building principal for one of the comprehensive high schools. So that was kind of like an opportunity to break the ranks, and I'm also proud that one of the young ladies who worked alongside me is now principal at Highland Park High School, and she's also African American.
How important was that as a woman of color, so that in a high school that is a largely minority high school, to see you achieving that?
I think we always carry that responsibility of making sure we are showing others that whatever we're blessed to be able to do, they're going to be able to do it as well. And sometimes that's the only inspiration someone needs, especially a young woman, to persevere and ignore stop signs that are put up by others who want to tell them they can't, so that they can move forward and realize what they can do, and then others will follow them.
Well, we've been talking a lot about the upcoming anniversary of Brown v. Board, and Pamela, you were one of the children of Brown, so to speak. You attended a segregated school in Topeka. How did that shape your journey?
I think in many ways it taught me that while we were in an environment that was all people that looked like me, that it prepared me very well educationally, and then to move into another environment that people didn't necessarily look like me, but I felt ready and capable to be able to do almost anything that other people did. And I wasn't there very long, but I think that the strong foundation of the Black teachers that gave such support and love, and they knew everybody in the community, so they could see my mother and tell her if I'd messed up. So before I got home, I'd already be knowing that I was facing something that wasn't so good. And that's different than today. We don't have that kind of collegial family so much anymore, but it certainly worked for me.
And you've done very well.
Thank
Three different
you.
governors, so you've also crossed party lines over the years as well. And I kind of said Dr. Mazachek is the first woman president of Washburn University. What does that mean to you? Do you realize it's an achievement even?
Yeah, so I tell people, I get that question quite a bit, and I tell people I don't think about it very often because I've been a woman my entire life. So, but I also recognize to the younger people, especially our students, and even young faculty and staff on campus, that it is very meaningful. I feel a tremendous, just as Dr. New said, I feel a tremendous sense of responsibility to the next generations, and realize that you become a role model, an encourager, and I can do it. They can point to you and say, I think I can do that too. and what a tremendous responsibility comes with that.
Does it help you in terms of, do you look around at your makeup of faculty maybe perhaps a little bit differently and make sure that there are male and female faces in those staff photos, people of all color in those staff photos?
Yeah, so I have to tell you, we always hire the very best people.
Yes.
And but we're very lucky. We do have a diverse group of men and women. We do not have enough people of color. We're always trying to have more people of color on our faculty and staff. And but we really do work hard at that because our students are all different ages, they're all different races, and we want to make sure they can see themselves when they come to Washburn.
I'm curious, Dr. Mazachek, when you think about people who've paved the way for you, who do you see and what was it that you learned from them?
So I will tell you that most of my mentors have been male in my life. I've chosen disciplines of study that were male dominated, and I actually I've never had a female boss. So
which says something that maybe we need to start doing that.
So we're working on that more. Yes, it's true. But we had long time serving, and so I was very fortunate to work under many leaders that were outstanding and cared about developing the people that were under them and that they saw potential in. And so I'm very grateful to people I've worked for. I'm very grateful to Dr. Farley. I'm very grateful to other leaders that I worked with when I was at the foundation. Truthfully, I don't know how others feel, but I feel that I wouldn't be who I am today without really strong mentors and sponsors and people who were willing to challenge me to be my very best.
I think that's really a compliment to the men in the Topeka community and the progressiveness in their thought process to not look at women who are coming up alongside them and try to keep them down and instead lift them up. I think that's a great compliment. Pamela, who've been your mentors, who's paved the way for you that you like
You
to
know, I've never had a formal mentor. I've had a number of women that I've seen on the local scene and on the national scene, and one of them that took me kind of under her wing was Dr. Joycelyn Elders. She was the first African American Surgeon General of the United States, and she called me one day to her hotel room. It was after we were done, and she said to me, you know, Pamela, women that get in our positions have to learn how to fight the bear. And I'm like, fight the bear? And then as I got through it, I understood. So while there were no formal mentors, there were a number of women that I saw lifting up other women, and they became role models so that I knew that it was my turn to help and lift, do what we can to make sure that women are feeling accomplished and secure enough. And what I learned is that you cannot ask necessarily. You certainly have to have some decorum. But you also have to learn how to be very assertive because people aren't necessarily going to open that door for you. And I think I've been one of those women over time that didn't ask, can I come in? I was one of those women that said, try to keep me out.
Sometimes you do. You have to stand up for yourself. That is a lesson that you learn. And by the way, all three of you are women that I've watched throughout my time here and have very much admired. Dr. New, what is your lesson in leadership that you pass along to the young ladies who you've seen through education? I'm sure you've been a mentor to many of them and a role model.
I've done my best. But as Pamela was sharing, I was thinking about the wonderful examples that I had, even in my own family, of women who could influence with compassion. My mother, my grandmother, my aunts, my oldest sister, these were women who didn't have to say a lot, they did a lot, and that helped me know which direction to go. But someone whose example I really followed through education, Miss Teresa Counts. She was my 5th grade teacher. She passed a few years ago, but I loved her to death until that point. I always made sure to stay in contact with her, but she was at Monroe School, and she was a no-nonsense teacher, and she made sure we could perform at a level of excellence, and that carried over throughout my life. So
I think a lot of people would say a teacher was their very first mentor, even if they didn't necessarily call them a mentor at the time. I mean, obviously, we're celebrating women. It's a good thing to be a woman. Do we bring good things to the table? I mean, where do you think, and we've only got a few seconds left, so whoever wants to jump in real quick, what is it that women bring to the table that we need to remember?
We bring everything and the men can't.
We do have a different perspective. We do look at things sometimes differently. We ask hard questions on a regular basis, and yes.
I think women don't always have an opportunity to do what they want to do, but they always are willing to do what needs to be done, so that in every venue that you're in, I think women bring to that the tenacity and the ability to bring together groups that then give better results.
Well, I appreciate all three of you coming together to join the conversation. Thank you so much, Dr. New, Pamela, Dr. Mazachek. Appreciate you all so very much.
We are absolutely grateful to have these examples of women's leadership in our community, and certainly I just had a thrill. It was a joy to visit with Pamela, Beryl, and JuliAnn Mazachek. A fun thing to end on this week, Valeo Behavioral Health is they usually produce a t-shirt every spring, summer season during May, Mental Health Awareness Month, and they like to have a diversity, equity, and inclusion theme. This year, they've decided to open up a contest for the community to help them design that t-shirt. Mickey Bircher of Valeo visited to tell us what it's all about.
Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having us.
And you have Celebrate Diversity right there on this shirt today, but you want a new one.
That's right.
And how are you going to involve the community in that?
So we are having our first ever Valeo DEI Committee Community T-shirt Design Contest. So every year Valeo puts out a new T-shirt as a fundraiser. We usually launch that in May because it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And this year, the DEI committee is going to kind of take over that and try to raise some additional funds for all of the diversity, equity, and inclusion activities that we do for our staff. So as you said, this was our previous T-shirt, but we need a new one. And so we're asking the community to submit a design, and the DEI committee will be choosing from those designs as either fully using that art or as inspiration for our next T-shirt.
Absolutely. Why do you have a DEI committee? Why is that something that is crucial to Valeo's mission?
Well, of course, diversity is just such an important part of mental health care because everybody has such different experiences. Equity, of course, we want everyone to have equitable access to mental health care. And then inclusion, again, including everyone's experiences, bringing everyone to the table. Really, DEI principles are just at the core of what we already do. So having a committee that's really enabling and inspiring our own staff to really engage in that space and to embrace those principles was just kind of the next best step. It was just common sense for us.
And involving the community in the diversity, equity, and inclusion message. So what are the qualifications to enter, and what kind of image or design are you looking for?
Yeah, so the theme that we have this year is just we want people to answer a question: what does diversity look like to you, with something visual that we could put on a t-shirt. There's a lot of kind of technical specifications that you'll be able to find on the website, but some of those are 6 colors or less, because that's just for printing purposes. The graphic can be 11 inches by 12 inches, and there's a few more specifications like that, again, on the website that they can find. Also, we're going to limit that to Shawnee County residents that are ages 18 or older.
Okay, and how do you submit that entry?
Yeah, so there's going to be a submission form on the Valeo website at valeotopeka.org/DEI. There's a submission form that has all of the guidelines, some things to keep in mind, as well as an actual application form that you will submit and email to me. And my email address is on there as well.
And what did you say the deadline is? And then what does the process look like from there in terms of how you're going to choose something, and then when we might actually see the shirts?
Yeah, so the deadline is, it's March 14th today, so it's a month. April 14th, that's the deadline for submissions. And then the DEI committee at Valeo will get together and look over all of the design entries and choose the one that we think best represents our message and best answers that question: what does diversity look like to you? And then we will launch those shirts in May during Mental Health Awareness Month. They're going to be available to our staff first, and then we will open up the sale of those shirts to the public after that, definitely by June.
Sometime this summer, we'll see that.
Yeah.
And we should mention, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, but this has been a busy couple weeks for all of you at Valeo because they're having a lot of awareness events happening at the State House.
That is correct. I've been at the State House many days this week.
What's the message that you take to the state capitol when you guys go?
Oh, we're really just talking about the importance of removing the stigma from mental health care and from mental health in general, encouraging people to be able to talk about it, and of course, expanding access. So really encouraging our legislators to look at any means that they can to increase the accessibility of mental health care to the general population.
Well, and you can help spread that message along with the DEI message when you enter the t-shirt contest. It is, again, open to Shawnee County residents age 18 and older. April 14th is the deadline. If you have questions about it, you can email Mickey at mbircher@valeotopeka.org. Also, that is where you will find the form that you put along with your submission. We'll have the link on WIBW.com as well. So much fun, Mickey. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Shawnee County residents age 18 and over can head to Valeo's website under their DEI committee page and find out more about entering. Staff members will be sporting those shirts in May, and you'll have a chance to get one coming up in June. Hope you enjoyed our guests. If you'd like to see the video from these segments or all of the guests on Eye on Northeast Kansas, head to WIBW.com. You can also find them on our WIBW 13 News YouTube channel. Be sure to click subscribe while you're there. I also post them on my Facebook page, WIBW Melissa Bruner, along with our studio selfies to give you a bit of a behind-the-scenes glimpse. Check all of that out. Until next time, we'll see you on the Red Couch.